One of the questions that I hear most often is, what do I actually say when my child lies? Those moments can catch us off guard. We discover something isn't true and our emotions rise quickly, and sometimes we don't know what to say. We want honesty. We want to teach character, but in the moment we may feel disappointed, frustrated, or even hurt. Over the years, I've learned that our words matter more than we sometimes realize because when children make mistakes, they're often paying close attention to how adults they love respond. And while no perfect script guarantees honesty, there are certain responses that help open the door to truth instead of pushing children deeper into hiding. In this video, I want to share 3 simple things we can say when our children lie and why those responses matter so much. And by the way, if lying has become a struggle in your home, I've created a free guide called How to Handle Lying in Children. I'll leave a link below. One thing I've learned over the years is that children are still developing the emotional maturity needed to handle mistakes well. Whether we're talking about preschoolers, elementary age children, teenagers, or even young adults, admitting wrongdoing can feel vulnerable. Adults aren't very different. Most of us don't naturally enjoy exposing our failures, and I think remembering that helps us respond with wisdom instead of panic. I've seen this many times in the classroom. A child would quickly deny talking during instruction, even though everyone around him had heard the conversation. And sometimes a student would insist that she hadn't made the mess, only to quietly come back later and admit the truth. Many children want to tell the truth. They're just afraid. They're afraid of disappointing us, afraid of consequences, afraid of embarrassment. And that's why one of my favorite phrases is simply, help me understand what happened. I think those words communicate something powerful because they tell a child that my goal isn't simply to catch them. My goal is to understand. Now, understanding doesn't mean we're excusing the behavior. Honesty still matters. Accountability still matters. And when children sense that we're trying to understand instead of immediately interrogate, they often become less defensive. Years ago, I had a student immediately blame another child for breaking a classroom supply. Everyone involved was upset. But as the situation unfolded, it became clear that the damage was not intentional. It had simply been an accident, and fear had quickly led to blame. Sometimes they're trying to protect themselves because they're scared. When we say, help me understand what happened, we're communicating that relationships matter and truth matters. And over time, children learn that honesty is safer than hiding. Understanding often opens doors that pressure closes. Another phrase I've come to appreciate over the years is this: thank you for telling me. Now, I know that might sound strange because parents sometimes wonder, why would I thank my child after they lied? But here's what I've learned: we're not celebrating the mistake, we're encouraging honesty. Those are 2 very different things. And I've seen this happen many times in the classroom. A student would initially deny being out of his seat during instruction, but later in the afternoon, he would quietly walk over and say, Miss Stewart, I really was the one up. Or a child would come back and admit that the paper everyone had been searching for was actually tucked inside his desk. And whenever those moments happened, I wanted children to know something. Telling the truth matters. Even delayed honesty is still honesty. Children are still growing emotionally. They're learning how to handle guilt, disappointment, embarrassment, and responsibility. Telling the truth after a mistake takes courage. I never want to miss an opportunity to encourage courage. That doesn't mean there are no consequences, because responsibility and accountability matter. Honesty matters immensely, but encouragement matters too. Children need hope, and they need to know that telling the truth is always the right direction, even if they didn't begin there. Over the years, I've learned that character is built one decision at a time, and moments of honesty deserve to be strengthened. Encouraging honesty helps children move toward truth. The third phrase I've come to appreciate more and more is this: we'll work through this together. I think children need to know that mistakes don't have to destroy relationships. Because honestly, many children already feel bad. They're embarrassed. They're disappointed in themselves. Sometimes they're afraid to let us down. And when children feel overwhelmed, hiding often feels easier than honesty. I've seen this many times in the classroom. One year I had a student who hurt another child's feelings during a disagreement. At first, he denied saying anything unkind, but later in the day, after things had settled down, he quietly admitted what happened. And that taught me something important. Children often need reassurance before they fully face the truth. Not reassurance that the behavior doesn't matter, but reassurance that they are still loved, that they're still valued, and that mistakes don't define them. I think that's one of the beautiful things about grace. Grace doesn't ignore truth. Grace walks alongside truth. Healthy homes need both truth and grace. And over the years, I've come to believe that accountability and hope belong together, just as correction and love belong together. When children know the relationship is secure, honesty often becomes easier over time. That doesn't mean every conversation will go smoothly. It doesn't mean that children will immediately confess every mistake. And it certainly doesn't mean that we'll respond perfectly every time. None of us do. I've had moments as a parent and a grandparent when I wish I'd handled things differently. And over the years, I've learned that our children don't need perfection from us. They need loving leadership. Because our goal is bigger than solving one moment of dishonesty, our goal is helping children become people who love truth, people who know how to admit mistakes, people who understand accountability, and people who learn that honesty and grace can live in the same home. And that kind of character is built slowly through many conversations, many opportunities, and many moments of growth. Children need reassurance and accountability, not shame and fear. So, if your child lies, don't lose hope. Character is built over time, and none of us respond perfectly every time. But over the years, I've learned our words can either build walls or open doors. And I think children often remember how we made them feel long after they've forgotten the details of the mistake itself. Our goal isn't simply getting children to confess. Our goal is helping them become people who love truth, and that kind of character is developed through truth, grace, accountability, and loving leadership. We don't have to choose between truth and grace. Healthy homes need both. If you'd like more help, I've created a free guide called How to Handle Lying in Children. I'll leave the link below. And if you've ever found yourself asking, why are you lying? You'll want to watch the next video, because that question, although very understandable, may actually be making honesty harder. In the next video, I'm going to share 3 things to say instead of why, and those responses often build connection instead of shame. I'll see you there.